Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast. I am Jeremy Birmingham. This is Birminology. Today, we're going to be talking to 2026 quarterback prospect Jared Curtis, the nation's top-ranked player in the class of 2026, according to 247 Sports, and a player that Ohio State has a lot of interest in. He'll be making his second trip to campus this weekend as the Buckeyes host a pretty pivotal junior day on campus. We're going to talk to Jared about that visit, his upcoming decision, and a whole lot more on the latest episode of Birminology. Jared Curtis joins us now. Big weekend ahead for you, Jared. Ohio State return trip on tap. But, there's weird weather happening in Tennessee and all through the Midwest. Let's just start right there. You're supposed to begin your travel tomorrow to Ohio. Is there any sense or chance in your mind that that trip doesn't happen because of weather?
Yes, sir. So I've been talking to Coach Dennis the past couple of weeks about it because we've been aware of the snowstorm. We've actually been out of school all week and actually out tomorrow. So we're trying to get out here as quick as possible. So in the morning at 10 a.m., we're going to head up to Columbus.
You know, as a kid in Nashville, it's not an area. It's not like you're in, South Florida where the it's always 80 degrees and it never snows. You get some cold, you get some weather down there in Tennessee. As you start to look at different places around the country, last weekend you were in Athens, Georgia, visiting the Bulldogs. This week it's in Columbus, a little bit different weather-wise. But what are the little, like, there's the big factors, right? There's the big factors like coaches and offense and winning. And are there little things in recruiting that you've started to pick up on that are like weighing heavier on your mind than you would have imagined?
Yes, sir, for sure. Like relationship with coaches. That's a big thing to me. Like just the way they welcome you and the people that already play there, like how they're like going on with themselves and how they act and perform on the field is also a thing that I've been looking at.
Your first trip to Columbus was in November, right?
Yes, sir.
Weather was okay. It wasn't a bad weekend, if I recall. You were in the town for the Michigan State game.
Yes, so, Michigan State.
A nice night game. It was cold, but not precipitous.
Yes, sir.
This trip will be a little different, but you're going to be indoors the whole time. It's you're going to be going to a basketball game and that kind of stuff. What are you most looking forward to on a trip like this? Because it's decidedly different than a game day visit where you don't get a whole lot of time with coaches. This is more about the personal interaction.
Oh, yes, sir. I was looking forward to just the welcome, around it, like even the fans, like how they act against a basketball game. Like if everything just comes together as one, and the recruits, how other recruits like it. I also started to pick up on stuff like that because they might see different things that I'm seeing. So I always try to interact with them and ask them what they're thinking about the same school that I'm interested in. And we just talk about stuff like that, and just stuff like that's kind of big to me.
I think it's got to be fascinating. You're a sophomore in high school. You have scholarship offers from the best of the best around the country. Has this struck you as odd? Like that this is all happening to you so soon, or are you how do you mentally prepare for this sort of attention from Ohio State, Georgia, Alabama? Like, does that not blow your mind?
Kinda. I've worked hard. I've been a running back all my life, and I wasn't expecting after my freshman year. I was not expecting anything. Like I was expecting to go back the next year and just keep balling out, keep trusting my teammates and believing in myself. And I thought eventually that it would roll in, but I didn't know it would be so soon. So at the same time, yes, but at the same time, no. Like I kind of figured it would happen, but I just didn't know when.
You've been a running back your whole life until
yes, sir. Until my 8th grade year. My parents, I sat down with my parents. They're like, "You're too slow. You can throw the ball pretty far, but so we're going to try to get you training." So my 8th grade year, I flipped over to quarterback, and been happening ever since.
So it's been 2.5 years that you've been playing quarterback, and now you're ranked as the number one quarterback in the country, number one player in the country, according to 247 Sports, in the class of 2026. And you don't think that's crazy? Like, to me, that's kind of crazy, man. Like that's quite a leap to go from I'm too slow to play running back, but I guess I can throw it okay, to 2.5 years later being regarded as the best young quarterback in the country with offers from Alabama, Ohio State, Georgia. Like that's a little crazy, Jared. I'm not going to lie.
Yes, sir. It is wild. It's a true blessing, though. I don't take any of it for granted. I love the position I'm in, and I just keep my head down and keep working.
When these offers start happening, when these conversations start happening, and to be honest, because you're a 2026 prospect, it's still hard to have some of these conversations. I assume you're not allowed to have unlimited communication with coaches. They have to find creative ways to talk to different coaches and relay messages. And what have you noticed is the hardest part about this recruiting stuff so far?
Basically what you were saying, not being able to connect with the coaches like as much as I want to. Like they're not allowed to contact me yet until I think they moved it to July now or June, one of them two.
June
It used to be. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I would love that to happen, but also I know that a lot of people have warned me like it's going to be crazy, but I'm looking forward to it.
No, it's interesting is the way that things are going, and you can correct me if I'm wrong as I read other stuff that people write about you around the nation. But, you made the trip to Georgia last week. You've got this second visit to Ohio State happening. There's some conversation about maybe beginning to really narrow down. You narrowed down to 6 schools in December, but maybe even a decision in the next couple of months. Yes, there is a thought that by the time June comes around, you may want people to leave you the heck alone. So is it hard to look at and see the big picture while still focusing on the little things and maybe making a decision in the near future?
Yes, sir. So I'd like to, because I know coaches move around and that's part of it. It's a business. But I do like, I know what schools I like and what schools I want to visit, and coaches from another school, they're like, when they're able to talk to me, if they hit me up, call them. You never know where they could be by the time of my signing day or where I'm going to go end up in college. So I always want to keep don't burn the bridges with the other schools, because I'm grateful for all the other schools, and it's a blessing that they recruit me the way they do. But I just don't want to burn any bridges, and hopefully I get to talk to them all again.
Yeah, I mean, 2 of the 6 schools that were in your top 6, Texas A&M and Alabama, have changed head coaches in since you dropped that top 6 in December.
Yes, sir.
Has it been eye-opening or like a wake-up call, understanding that the business is what it is, and whatever coach you're talking to on a daily basis, a quarterback's coach or a head coach could maybe not be there, 1 week to the next? Has it changed the way you view college football?
Oh, yes, sir. That is crazy to me, how stuff like that works, and that's also put an effect on my commitment, because I know, like, if I were to commit to a school, by the time I get there, there's a likely chance that the people that recruit me now won't be there when I get there. So I always got to keep that in the back of my mind. But that's why I've always been told to fall in love with the program, not the coaches. So
is there a real value that you see, Jared, to locking in early? I mean, obviously the quarterback is the leader of the class. That's the face of the program type of situation. But especially in your class, 2026, Ohio State has one commitment, and that's a 5-star wide receiver in Chris Henry Jr. Is there a value that you see in, hey, maybe I should lock in early and help build something special?
Oh, yes, sir, for sure. So that's also been a thing with me. I know I've talked to my trainers and stuff. They said the exact same thing. Like, you want to get off the board and build a class around you, so when you go to college, you'll have weapons all around, O-line, receivers, even defensive players, because they help win games too. So that's a big part in a commitment too.
You talk about the trainers. Those trainers that you work with have done a remarkable job getting you to this point in your career. Where do you see yourself as you just wrapped up your sophomore year, getting ready to move into your junior season? Where do you think the biggest areas are that you still need to take a step up?
Oh, yes, sir. So I would say me and my head coach are going over this right now, and it's reading the defenses. Like, my freshman year, I played off pure instinct. Like, I didn't know a thing about anything. Like, cover 2, I didn't know what any of that was. After my freshman season, we started going over a little bit. So last season I played with a little bit of knowledge of what it was, but this year I feel like I have a good understanding, and I'll go out there and have one of the best years I've had.
You are, as I mentioned, now the number one ranked player in the country, according to 247sports.com. Some of that, you were the number 2 ranked player as of Wednesday. And then Julian Lewis, the quarterback from Carrollton, Georgia, reclassified into the class of 2025. That's kind of becoming a popular thing to do, Jared. And I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but is that at all in your window of thinking, or is it not even something that you're considering? Because obviously for a place like Ohio State that has a 2025 quarterback like that changes the entire scope of things, right?
Yes, sir. So me and my family have actually talked about that because we were looking to move schools, high schools, but we decided to stay and get better with the guys around me. But we was thinking about transferring and reclassifying at the same time, but we sat down and thought about it, and we didn't think that'd be the best choice for me to make.
Not that my opinion matters, but I think you're right. You're a high school student once in your life. You have the business of football, as we've already talked about with college coaches. Like, that business of football is going to be there forever, and it's going to continue to change and get more and more stressful. So when you have these couple years to be a high school student and go to prom and do that stuff, you should hold on to it as much as you can. Tell me about you as a person. When you're not playing football, when you're not trying to figure out how to get faster because you're too slow to play running back, what do you do? What does Jared Curtis do to be a kid?
I've grown up since I was 3. Me and my dad have always rode 4-wheelers and ride horses. So if I'm outside of football and outside of training for football on my weekends, my dad, we'll get some of my buddies over and we'll go out and we'll ride 4-wheelers. We got a couple 4-wheelers, and like the last 3-4 days, I've had two buddies over all week, and we've been out just sledding, riding behind the 4-wheelers, pulling them on tubes all around the field in front of the house.
As you get ready to start this travel north on Friday morning, obviously, again, there's a lot of big conversations and a lot of things that are in play over these next few weeks for you as you settle down and try to make maybe a college decision based on these last couple trips. What do you have to get out of a weekend like this? What's necessary to happen to feel good about a visit? I just, for the outside person, like, what makes a visit a success?
Yes, sir. So obviously the only time I've been up to Columbus was on a game day. So like they couldn't really get a lot of interaction with me until both a little bit before the game and then a little bit after. So getting up here to like actually go to the offensive room and watching videos and them showing me how they develop quarterbacks and the players around me will always be good and supporting. A thing I'm looking for is like just a welcoming, like the coaches feeling like home. Like, is it going to be I can be myself? Just stuff like that.
You know, as a quarterback, who do you model your game after? You're 6'3" 215 pounds. Like, what is the Jared Curtis experience like at quarterback? Like, who do you watch and say, like, that's the guy I want to be?
Oh, yes, sir. So, I personally like Patrick Mahomes just because he has a crazy arm talent. But a lot of people compare me to somebody like Josh Allen because when he has to run, he'll run. And he's not scared to hit nobody.
I mean, Josh Allen is an extremely, now he's fast enough to play running back. So we got to be honest with ourselves. It's fascinating because people love to compare young guys to guys that have come through before. But as the game evolves, it seems like every generation players get a little bit more unique and a little bit more multiple. But the offense can't change that much. It's like there's still a quarterback. You still got to throw the football. As a quarterback, when you watch a place like Ohio State and you see the receivers that they have in that program, how much does that like open your eyes or entice you to a program like what the Buckeyes are building?
Yes, sir. So that's obviously a big thing to me because that's the guys that's going to be helping me out and getting me to the next level. Also, I'm getting them to the next level. They're getting me to the next level. So I couldn't do it without any receivers or O-line. So the way they bring in receivers is crazy because they develop receivers also and get them to the next level. And it's wild to see the things that these colleges can do.
Who's your favorite sports team? Like, is it the Titans? Is it someone else local? Like, who do you watch and on the weekends, or who's the team you grew up playing with on Madden?
So, actually, that's funny you say that because my mom, she would never let me play video games. So we don't have any video games, and watching football, I can't really sit down for a long time because I can't really like lock into something. I'll get bored or something. So watching football, I don't really watch football a lot either. So I just go out there and play it, to be honest. I'll watch like a big game, like the Super Bowl or something. But
see, that explains why you didn't know defenses when you started playing quarterback. If you'd played Madden, you would have known what cover 2 was.
Yeah, I've heard. Yeah, that's what people have said to me too.
That's funny. It's probably pretty smart though. You live in an area where you can go outside and do things most of the year. It's probably better for you that way.
Yes, sir.
What do you get? What pumps you up? What music do you listen to pregame? Like what do you get into to get yourself ready for competition?
So music I listen to before pregame. It's like, what's the song called? It's from Jay-Z. I'm having a brain fart right now. It's Run This Town. I listen to that on repeat for an hour. And then we get our phones taken a couple hours before the game. So I'm listening to that most of the day, and then I put it on repeat for an hour before we get our phone taken. And then when we get our phone taken, I just put my AirPods in, and they're sound canceling. So I just sit there and think about the game.
Hear nothing.
Yes, sir.
I mean, you've got a lot of interesting parts to your personality, I think, Jared, and it serves you well. Certainly going to serve you well as you continue to grow into this recruiting process, which will get crazy in June for sure. You've done a good job, I think, so far of kind of blocking out the noise. But when you're deciding between places like Ohio State and Georgia and Alabama, Tennessee, Texas A&M, Florida State, like these are the biggest of the big. How do you decide ultimately what moves you? Like, is it just the relationships? Is it the way an offense runs? Is it the stability of knowing a head coach is going to be there a long time? Like, are all these things equally important?
Yes, sir. Most of them things are equally important, but a big thing that I have been looking into is the last thing you mentioned is a head coach being there, like the stability of a head coach, like, and how long they'll be there. And if the program's successful, like I know Kirby Smart, he's not going anywhere. Ryan Day and his group always stay together, which is a big thing to me too. So I look into stuff like that, and also the family feeling around it.
Well, you're going to get a good dose of that this weekend as you get to campus. Chance to hook up with coaches and watch meetings and get to see how they're handling workouts, which started this week. Fun basketball game on Saturday against Penn State. It's always a doozy when those two teams play in the Big Ten, and hopefully you get weather's supposed to be pretty okay this weekend in Columbus. I think it's supposed to get colder, but shouldn't be any snow as long as you get out of town safely tomorrow morning. So I'm going to let you go. I really do appreciate you taking time, man. I told you I'd try to keep it about 15 minutes, and it's been a little bit over that. So thank you very much for joining us on the show.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
No problem. That's Jared Curtis. I'm Jeremy Birmingham. This has been Birminology on the podcast. Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you next time.